Welcome back, everyone, to the Queen of TV channel. Now, some quick things before we get into our intro. Please watch the video to the very end. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Second, there will be cursing and profanity. If that's not your cup of tea, this channel is not for you. Lastly, I'll be giving my honest opinion on the episode and the show as a whole. So, without further ado, let's get into the intro. Hello, everyone. I am your host, the Queen herself, and you are the Prince and Princesses. You're either a subscriber or you are a viewer. Either way, welcome. Today, we're talking about H2O Season 3, Episode 2, Jungle Hunt. Yeah, I did not look up the whole timeline thing in Australia because I'll just do that in my timeline video. I don't know why I sat there and told myself I was going to do it before I did this episode, knowing full well I don't have time. So, this episode starts off with Cleo brushing her teeth, her dad letting her know she don't want to be alone her first day. Cleo is afraid to use water. She has gained PTSD from it. Her friends try to reassure her that everything is fine and she can't hide from water forever, but she basically is too freaked out about the water attacking them to even believe anything they say. Bella's excited for her first day of school, but Rikki lets her know to give it a week. This is when they notice that Will is also a new student there, and even though Bella is excited about it, Rikki is not and thinks that you stay away from him as much as possible. Well, that goes just as well as you might think, as Will shows up to talk to Rikki about what happened out there. And Rikki obviously is being an ass to him, and even though yes, it is very understandable, but she seems to be more harsher than the other two. So obviously he doesn't fully listen to her and decided he's going out to Mako Island to find out if she's not giving him any information to find out what happened. She tells the girls about him going out to Mako, and Cleo thinks that they should follow him, but Rikki doesn't think they should encourage it. But Bella goes in stride and takes Cleo's advice and says that one of them could distract them, and she volunteers. She ends up talking to Will, and Will actually agrees to let her go with him, and she was able to convince him. Now, she lets Cleo and Rikki know, and they ask her if she's sure if she can, if she was able to convince him, if he wasn't like questioning or anything. She says yes, everything's fine, and that she has everything handled and they don't have to help. Rikki is very unsure about that, and Cleo, having a weird feeling, knows that Rikki is going to follow them anyway. Cleo is explaining her fears to Lewis, who is not listening because he wants to look up a new tackle box. So I'm guessing that after Lewis got rid of his codependency, instead of being his old self for the past 2 seasons, he's just being the boyfriend and the friend. He's not really going to worry about it because he thinks that there's nothing to worry about. Cleo gets upset with him because he's not treating this anything serious, and she's seriously freaked out about this. Lewis tries to rest assured that everything's fine, but Cleo says that water attacked them. It came from Mako, and that used to be their place, and she's not waiting any day longer to actually find out what's going on. We see Bella and Will have shown up at Mako Island, and Rikki is watching them. Cleo and Lewis also show up, as Cleo knew that Rikki would come anyway. Lewis says that Bella's leading Will the wrong way, and Cleo tells him that was the point. So they go investigate the moon pool while Rikki follows Will and Bella, and we see her do that as such. As they are walking around Mako Island, Cleo and Lewis are inside of the moon pool, where they notice that the new wall on the rock is different. It's all geometric. It's like a spiky type asteroid for some reason, and they said it did not look like that the last time. So it's obvious something happened in between the summer holiday while they wasn't there. So they're going to investigate it. While Will and Bella are still walking, they come across a stream of water at a river, and Bella convinces Will to go on without her. And in an impressive way, she uses her powers, which we'll never see again. So they're still playing with this theme of showing us the girls can do cool stuff, but then they don't do it again. The budget must have not been as big as it should have been, which makes sense considering that season 3 wasn't even supposed to happen. So she ends up making her own stepping stones. She walks across them and ends up losing her balance and gets turned into a mermaid. Will asks Bella if she's alright, and he calls after her name as he's coming back to check on her. Rikki notices and goes to Bella's aid, who is upset to see Rikki there, saying that she didn't trust her. But Rikki doesn't listen and decides to help her. Once Will catches up with them, he asks what Rikki's doing there, and they're able to convince him and make a convincing lie to where Rikki had decided to help after all, changing her mind. While they are distracted, Rikki dries off the equipment bag that he had brought that Bella was carrying. So, as they continue trailing on, Lewis has a look at investigating the wall of rock, and he decides to drink some of the water, which Cleo protests, but he agrees anyway to do so. And he starts joking around her, pretend like it's strangling him, and she gets so upset that she takes some of that water using her powers and splashing in his face. She was not amused. So Rikki and Bella not Rikki and Bella, Bella and Will start having a heart to heart where Will explains that his entire life has been just living on a yacht and that he's never actually been able to just be a regular kid and stay in one place and make friends or anything like that. So he has a real tragic backstory. Him and Bella have an equal backstory because we don't know nothing about her parents, but apparently Bella moves around the world too. So they both never really had like a stable environmental home. As they keep walking on, they end up finding where the cave dwelling is, unbeknownst to all, unbeknownst to Bella and Will. And as Bella's walking to see where else they can go, just like Cleo, she falls down backwards down the hole. Will goes after her and Rikki follows pursuit. Lewis and Cleo caught, not able to get out, have to be there like sitting ducks. When Will questions what they're doing there, they made another convincing lie where they agreed to help as well. So Lewis distracts him, and Will goes on to explain what happened. Very in detail what happened in the previous episode. And Rikki decides to be very gaslighty. In a harshest way possible, she verbally eviscerates this poor man and makes him feel completely shitty. Bella says that Rikki did not have to do that. She didn't have to be that harsh. Rikki said she had no other choice. I'm going to talk about that in my review because I think I know what the hell is wrong with Rikki right now. So, while they're standing around and discussing some things, Lewis notices that a big glob of water is trying to rise up and grab them. He's able to alert them in time and they move. And Bella says that that is weird. So Bella is able to catch up with Will where she tells him like she apologizes in a way for what happened, and they have a small heart to heart where she makes him feel better and they both end up smiling and he leaves. So it's obvious that they're both, getting close, and it seems like it's very healthy. Like, I don't understand why people didn't like their relationship. So back in the moon pool, Cleo has an epiphany. She tells Bella and Rikki to get closer to her, and that's when the water rises up again and tries to grab them yet again. they come to the conclusion that when all three of them are together, they attract the tentacle. So basically, what that means is every time there's a full moon, it knows where the girls are. During the full moon, the tentacle is strengthened enough with enough force of water to actually be able to grab all three girls. But in its little baby stage, it's only able to form if all three are together and near the cave rock. Lewis suggests that they do not come out there no more, but Cleo refuses, saying that Mako Island is their place and they're not going to let this new waterfall scare them away. Okay, so let's talk about it. First, let's talk about Rikki's attitude. Now, compared to the first two seasons of Rikki's attitude, this is different, okay? Rikki's behavior in this episode is of being overprotective. I believe this is why she was so easily succumbed to the tentacle when she first met it for the first time and actually faced the thing, because she might be the most overprotective person of Mako. With Emma now gone, the dynamics have changed, okay? Cleo has become like essentially in a leadership role where she's still supportive and she's still compassionate, but at the same time, she's the one being practical. She's the one wanting to discover what's going on. While Lewis, unless he's given such information, is just trying to be the supportive friend and peacemaker, trying to figure things out for everyone instead of letting everybody go losing their minds. Now, Bella is obviously the sweetheart. She is the supportive friend. She is who Cleo used to be in season 1. But except for how Cleo was personality wise, Bella is very confident. It would make sense because Bella has been a mermaid since she was 9, so obviously her being in a group is something new for her, so she's got to figure out her quirks within the group. Now with Rikki, Rikki has essentially become toxically, in a toxic way, connected to Mako and the secret. Like she's become truly overprotective of it, which would make sense with Emma now gone and it no longer being said our secret between the girls anymore. Rikki feels completely out of place. Like even her attitude towards Bella, she doesn't like Bella's upbeatness. It's because Rikki is not used to someone like Bella who isn't as paranoid about being a mermaid, considering she's been a mermaid since she was 9. And she's not used to someone like Will because she's used to people finding out their secret and being an actual danger to them, which is why she's so paranoid and suspicious of him and cruel to him. It doesn't make it right, but at the same time, that's why she's doing it. So with Lewis, I would not say that Lewis is acting like he actually does not care because he's not treating it seriously. I think what it is that Lewis is not seeing the threat itself, and on top of that, this is a threat that Lewis cannot help them with. So he's relegated to the friendship role because Lewis' actual scientific knowledge does not fit here. This is going beyond him. So this is actually something the girls are going to have to figure out themselves. This is a season where the girls are going to have to band together and fix this problem themselves. Without Lewis, without Zane, and not even will be able to help them. So this now brings me to Will's character and probably why he can't move on from what happened. It is obvious that Will is going through what Zane went through when Emma saved his life after the shipwreck. Will is obviously traumatized by the experience, And that's why he keeps thinking about it and he can't move on. Because Will says it himself in this episode, he's never been at one place in his life. So something like this has never truly actually happened to him. He's never actually got to experience these kind of phenomenons. So to go through something like this, of course he's going to want answers. So when everybody around him is telling him that he is crazy, of course it's going to make him feel the type of way and feel like he's going to have to investigate himself. So he's obviously in the same position that Zane was back in season 1. Now Cleo has a repeat effect. She is now returned back to where she was petrified of water. Now Cleo is completely back into the element of season 1 where she was afraid of water. And I feel like now this fear is going to make her more than just have a phobia towards water, but give her an actual traumatized version of it. Because she was actually attacked physically. And she's scared and everyone around her is not taking it seriously. Now they are taking it seriously. Cleo wants to fight it. But at the same time, how do you fight something that your powers can't even beat? Now, this brings me to the tentacle itself. So obviously it is attracted by mermaids and mermaids only. It can only go after mermaids. What's being misconstrued about the tentacle is that they think the thing is trying to hurt them, not help them. That's only because they don't know why it's here, they don't know why everything has changed, and they don't understand what it's for. This is the cause of not actually experiencing the issue. The only reason why they were able to like not be this hell bent like they were back in season 1 and 2 is because they knew what they were dealing with. Because they were following in the original footsteps of Gracie, Louise, and Julia and Max. But they didn't stay mer people long enough to experience this. So this season is different from season 1 and 2, not in a bad way, but a good way, because this is actually a season for the new original mermaids. This is a season where no one but them has experienced this. So they essentially can become the new mentors for the next generation. The issue is that Mako Mermaids did not capitalize on that. I would have liked if they've, I don't know, used their actual kids for Mako Mermaids and instead of random people to continue the story, because Mako Mermaids Island of Secrets, it would have been nice for the girls to have found out that mermen actually exists. So, but that didn't happen. And all we got was a 2-episode thing to do with Rikki, and they didn't even utilize her correctly, which I hate, because they didn't even use her other powers. I mean, what was the point of you bringing her back into your show if you weren't going to do any damn thing with her? But I digress. So the tentacle itself, clearly and obviously, is only after them, which makes them petrified, which makes them scared, which is obviously going to have them see it as public enemy number 1. Until we see Rikki bond with the thing and it actually makes her want to separate from Cleo and Bella, who think it's a monster, instead of actually figuring out what it is. So basically their issue is that instead of actually seeing or figuring out what the tentacle wants, they just assume it's the problem and they want to get rid of it. They want to destroy it. But spoiler alert, destroying the tentacle actually destroys Mako. But we'll get to that when we get there. So, what do I think of this episode as a whole? For me, it is a good episode. It's like the first one. We kind of get everything kind of wrapped up. Now that we got a good idea what the tentacle is after, we can understand why Bella and Will actually get close, because now people can look back on it with fresh pair of eyes and actually see that Will and Bella were actually perfect for each other. I think the reason why people wanted Rikki with Will because Rikki and Will started off on bad terms. But then again, Rikki only got close to Will and was only starting to get close to Will once Zane started to trail off the damn rails. So it seems like to me that was the main reason. If Zane had gotten his shit together, I don't think Rikki and Will would have seemed like a better couple. They would have just seemed like friends because most of their interactions are friendly. It is good to note that I can understand why Lewis isn't being himself. Maybe for some people it seems like Lewis is out of his element. That is because Lewis was only around for 13 episodes. And they only planned to have had him in 13 episodes. So they really didn't do much with his character. Now, if Lewis was meant to be in the entire season itself, Lewis would not be acting like this. So this is the cause of them only having him for the first half. So let's enjoy him while we still can. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if no one told you this today, I'm telling you I love you. And I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, bye guys. Oh, did I mention what's the name of the episode? The name of the episode is Jungle Hunt. Because I don't believe I mentioned the name of the episode. Okay, now goodbye.